So from our three panelists who have shared, it boils down that really early and accurate diagnosis is very important. But also one factor that limits us is some patients don't want to go out, right? They just hide, they're scared. Ang common sasabihin sa amin, ay pag-aaralan lang ako, yung ganon. Diba? They have that thinking that they will just be worked on. So, let's ask Dr. Rodela here Castillo, why does it often, aside from that factor, take so long for rare disease or these patients to receive the right diagnosis?
Yes, very important question. I think the past three patients have shared about their odyssey. Maybe not so much for Jeremy kasi na-diagnose siya agad. So, my background is in child neurology, meaning we treat brain, nerve, muscle, and spinal cord problems. So, FYI, before I answer that question, majority ng rare diseases na i-involve ang nervous system. May neuro involvement. Even lupus, of course, neurofibroma as a nerve, and even Jeremy, di ba? It's in the brain. It's a brain tumor. So majority involves the nervous system, so neurologists. That's why yung PNA, or the Philippine Neurological Association, actually created a rare disease special interest group because we want actually to advocate awareness, not just within ourselves as doctors. Kasi na-highlight nila kanina, di ba, that, some doctors are not into rare. I'll give a background why. Because as medical trainees, or as we were trained in medical school, we were trained to think first of the more common diseases. Sabi nga ni Dr. Lani, di ba, when you hear hoofs beat, you think of horses, hindi yung mas rare na zebra. That's also how we were trained, particularly in the Philippines, kasi limited yung resources to do laboratories. Like what Ma'am Grace mentioned kanina, laboratories are very expensive. Lalo na sa neuro, MRI, scan, CAT scan, mahal yun. Hindi lang 10,000. Abot pa yun ng 40,000 pag bata yung kasama kasi may sedation pa. Kailangan pa sila patulugin. So, in that aspect, we're not necessarily, the medical clinics not necessarily at fault because we're dealing with limited resources. Unahin mo rin isipin, ano yung pinaka-common? Kaya, tinik mo na si Ma'am Grace as something arthritis because of something, or let's say from the skin, reaction from medicine, right? Kasi more common yun. But I think the challenge there is yung follow-up. We need to have a trusting relationship as patient and doctor. Meaning, if sa umpisa, we didn't find it na ganun yung response dun sa common disease treatment, the patient and family should follow up to the doctor. And then when that doctor realizes na, ay, hindi to common condition, and maybe I need help. I need somebody who knows about this condition. So that there comes in your specialist, for example. Kung sa luma, sa lupus, sa neuro for Jeremy, and for Ara. So I think the biggest problem there is really awareness within the medical in terms of referral as well, and of course sa patient and family to have that trusting relationship as well, that when we follow up, we can actually build that proper referral for the proper specialists and centers of excellence or specialists for a specific rare disease.
I think that's a very good point, no? Kasi you're saying doctor-patient relationship. Dapat hindi mapapagod. Ang problema kasi sa atin, pupunta, di ba may tinatawag kami doctor shopping. O pupunta dito, magtatanong muna, tapos lilipat, iba na naman yung sasabihin, may pangatlo na, tapos si pasyente, nahilo na. Kung ano ba yung tama, di ba? Okay, so I think and that's where this partnership will work very well because it's not only the patients themselves, the relationship, but also the knowledge of what's out there. Now, and so I think we really need this change that's happening to us. So For Dr. Lani Alcauce, no, from the perspective of the NIH, you mentioned so many things. Ang dami ng challenges there that you shared it, no? There were 9 challenges. If you were still, I mean, paumpisa pa lang yun, ha? Dapat gising kayo. Tinanong ko sana kung ilan yung challenges ngayon. Okay, so what do you think is the biggest gap in our current rare disease system that you shared earlier?
For madami yun nga, challenge, and that's just stating few of the many challenges. No? So, by itself, the law actually covered a lot of things already. So, if we're going to answer your question, ano yung pinaka, it's the implementation. So, while parang di ba alam natin yan, ang dami nating rules, ang gaganda ng rules, kasi yung implementation yung part na we are lacking or hindi lang ganun kaganda pa. So, basically, yung sinabi nila, lahat yung diagnosis, knowing for health professionals to be aware of these conditions, lahat na yun covered. It's just that you follow through in implementation of the law. And that's the reason why I said earlier that there is another bill being prepared. But and this is my personal take. If we can implement yung ngayon na current na law to its fullest dapat na implementation, that would actually cover a lot of things already. What is missing in that law, I think what can be improved is yung siguro more inclusive in terms of the other adult onset. But that is actually being covered by yung rare disease, yung integrated rare disease management program. Inclusive na rin talaga siya. Yun yung I think yun yung problem or lack noong law na yun. But we know that it's something that we can improve on the implementation, hindi naman kailangan na mas strict on. But one thing, I think awareness, this is not talking about funding pa at all. It's awareness of these conditions, both sa doctors, sa medical professionals, and sa society. And katulad ng sinabi ng mga Ara at ni Ma'am Helen, what we want is maging aware, maging accepting and inclusive na yung society. We're learning. So, going back again to the law yun na implementation, kailangan na siguro mas kakalampahin. And if we have advocates, katulad ng sabi nila rin kanina ni Ma'am Helen and Ma'am Ara, important yung voice. If people would be united in raising yung voice ng rare condition, then we will have more power. I'm a pediatrician. Ganun din yung sinasabi, yung katulad ng sabi ni Luty. We are competing with a lot of conditions. At ang priority talaga nangyayari in any country, in any government, in any department or Ministry of Health, is allocation. What we want is just equity. So, alam natin yun, konti tayo, pero ang dami natin kailangan at mahal yung kailangan natin. And we can always advocate that yung equity yung gusto natin. So, kung hindi tayo masyadong maingay, then hindi tayo mabibigyan ng attention. And I guess yun yung important actually nitong week na celebration natin. It's raising awareness, hindi lang sa mga doktor, but dapat kami rin talaga nag-aaral. And that's where the academy will come in. NDOH, support yung mga ganito, kailangan namin na ganito subspecialties. We need these doctors to be able to manage and take care of people with rare diseases. So yun yung sa academy na part. Pero yung awareness, and syempre quantity. Syempre yung mga important din, no? So, equally important, but people being aware is not below quantity. It's equally important with yung ina-advocate natin.
So I think what struck me in that statement of Dr. is kalampag. Kailangan natin, okay, mag-ingay. Okay, so this is the group that may help, hear us. I'll give you an example, no? We also have an expensive medicine like dermatology. We have our biologics. Pag lumalapit sila sa mga for help, no, from the government, if you're just one individual, sabi nila, ang tagal bago ka makakuha, no? Ang daming request, ganyan. Pero when they go as a group, when they're 5 or 6, na they're there in that center, mas mabilis silang nabibigyan. So that's just a concrete example of how we can really work together. And I think this is really a national thing that we have to work on. We have here with us also, kahabol. Okay, si Miss Kat, come up the stage, please. We have here Miss Kathy Enteria, who is a caregiver and rare disease advocate. Maybe you can give us a short introduction lang of your story.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Kathy Enteria, and I had a daughter who was diagnosed with neurofibromatosis 1, and we lost her in 2020.
So, based on that, no, when you go, I know you've gone through this difficult journey, no? And if you want to look back, can you share, if you could share with us, what really made the biggest difference in your loved one's journey?
When I was listening earlier to the talk of our pediatrician guest here, and yes, I agree. The society in general is not yet ready to fully accept and fully embrace rare disease patients such as the neurofibromatosis patients na meron po yung daughter ko. And it was, when my daughter was diagnosed, actually it was a routine check-up when she was born in 1998. Her pediatrician was Dr. P.G. Lopez of UST, who suggested that we do a karyotyping test. During that time, it was only UPPGH who had the test. And sabi niya, because my daughter, she noticed that my daughter had a slanted left eye and a syncrease, which were actually manifestations of Down syndrome. But sabi niya, it did not look like a Down syndrome at all because hindi siya parang ragdoll when she was born. So we were also given a referral. So of course the karyotype test turned out to be negative, and we were referred by our pediatrician to Dr. Francita Padilla. And the diagnosis was done there for neurofibromatosis 1. And from then on, we had to look for doctors who could actually be considered experts, because until now, because the neurofibromatosis has several complications, and in the case of my daughter, her scoliosis was progressive. So it was Dr. Bono, an orthosurgeon, also at PGH, who recommended for a surgery for the spine because her scoliosis then was progressive. It was not your simple letter C formation, it was an S. So we had to look for several doctors, and actually immediately after my daughter was diagnosed, I borrowed one of the books of my sister who was also a doctor. So I read a lot about neurofibromatosis, but I tried actually to read a lot, but there were very few articles during that time. So this was the time when you had to rely on books. So sa library ng St. Benilde, and where my husband was connected, and then yung books, medical books ng sister ko. I had to read about it and I monitored where the spots were coming out. So, the confirmation na would be kung appear yung cafe au lait spots sa underarm and dun sa other lower parts of the body sa groin area. It was difficult because along with, I think, with the early detection of NF, meron pang ibang disease na nani-discover. She was also diagnosed with global developmental delay or GDD by the developmental pediatrician. And I think yung may kagrupo rin po kami na yung son naman niya was diagnosed with ADHD. So I think pagka po masyado yatang maaga siya na-diagnose na meron siyang neurofibromatosis, there are other developmental concerns. And right now po, we have a GC sa messenger, and you will see there po na a lot of patients with NF are still groping in the dark whether to see a dermatologist, a neurologist for the illness. So I think what we also lack is experts on the field of neuropsychology.
I think maybe what you're trying to say also is there should be a multidisciplinary approach. And actually, that's what also these groups are after, no? So like, of course, we have the different experts dealing in it, but as they work as a group and together, you look at the holistic approach, no, of the patient. And for Ms. Lotis Ramin, okay, having heard the perspectives, no, shared to us today, what do you believe needs to happen next to strengthen rare disease care in the Philippines?
First of all, good morning to everyone. Thank you for being here. So it's truly inspiring listening to the stories from Miss Ara, Miss Helen, Jeremy, and even Miss Kathy. So this further strengthens our resolve in AstraZeneca to make a difference in the Philippines for rare disease patients. And from the conversations, key themes that we observe as gaps would be first awareness. Second is the time to diagnosis. And of course, when they're diagnosed, access to the right treatment. And with those, we would like to really leverage our platform, our expertise in helping connect stakeholders in the Philippines to make sure that we are able to help build patient referral pathways that includes diagnostics, and also help establish centers of excellence in the country. We're very excited to be able to support that. And finally, in AstraZeneca, our mission is to push the boundaries of science to deliver life-changing outcomes for patients. And with that, we commit to continue to do our best to deliver the most innovative treatment for rare disease patients the fastest way possible, because there are also a lot of barriers there. Finally, we believe that to amplify what we need to do, we have to work together. And we have to continue to find like-minded individuals, stakeholders, and organizations to push this agenda forward, because rare disease patients are not just numbers, they're people. People living with real struggles, people with families. So we have to work together so that finally we can really amplify the voices on behalf of rare disease patients in the Philippines. And we're here to help.
Thank you. And so before we end the morning session, this session, Kapihan, maybe we can have a statement or two from each of the panelists here. Just one or two sentences that you can share.
Thank you for the passion and the desire to help people with rare disease, and looking for more activities like this and more action po. Sana po sa side ng government also. kasi hindi po madali yung disease ng neurofibromatosis system. Thank you.
So I'll take this opportunity to debunk one myth in rare disease. Rare diseases should not be left untreated kahit walang cure. Okay, what do I mean by that? There are doctors who need to see them, families and patients alike, whether for supportive care, to treat them in terms of anticipating complications and monitoring their symptoms. So I hope if there's one thing that you should remember from me, rare diseases should not be left untreated kahit wala pang cure.
So for me, my story is just one example. But there's a lot of rare diseases, unseen, unheard. So, bigyan po natin ng pagkakataon na marinig sila, makilala sila. Yun po yung magpapalakas ng boses ng mga taong may rare disease.
Yes. Kagaya po ng sinabi ni Miss Ara, yun din po ang ginagawa namin sa mga lupus patients at sa aming mga grupo. We welcome if you know someone na nagsasuffer, may ganitong kondisyon, we welcome them sa aming mga grupo para po sila man makarinig, makaranas, makakita ng opportunity. Kagaya sa amin, we create events for them. We give them chance to enjoy life, to continue yung buhay despite the difficulties. At makamit sila ng mga kapwa na may sakit para makapag-share, maging kapaki-pakinabang ulit at maging masayang buhay despite our conditions.
All of us in this room, we all come in with our own strengths, our own expertise. If we work together, if we collaborate strongly towards what we want to achieve, we will be able to achieve greater things for rare disease patients, and we should never give up. So we have to keep making noise.
Just to coming from the subspecialty of clinical genetics, ang mga sakit po na rare disease, a lot of them ay genetic. No? So importante na hindi lang yung pasyente ang tignan, yung pamilya din po, not only yung support psychologically, emotional, but also we need to screen them as well. Yun po yan sana hindi din pangkalimutan. Pangalawa, katulad po nung sinabi natin kanina, marami talagang challenges pa, hindi ko natin yan may kakaila. But we can be creative in ways in looking for mga paths that we can help pa rin. Limited tayo ng funding, yes, but we can siguro for now, I'm not saying that stop na magkalampag ng for funding, but there are other things that we can do for now, like awareness, making sure that marinig tayo yung rights of people living with rare diseases, makuha natin. Yun po yung mga pwede natin for now. Yung maliit, small wins, and then we work for the big wins as well.
So, ayun. I can say that rare disease patients may be outnumbered, but we may not be defeated. We must continue to raise awareness and promote for advocacy of these rare disease patients in order to achieve the universal health care that we all aim for. Thank you so much.
And finally, I think, yes, in summary, I think what we really want to do is strengthen rare disease care, and this requires coordinated action from everyone across policies that we have in the government, healthcare system, especially, and research, and of course, community support. And that's why you're all here for this morning session. Thank you, and good day.